Is being in a relationship really that important? I mean, when most people hear the word love, they'll start to think of rom-coms, romance, Romeo and Juliet, maybe some past relationships, a really bad breakup. But is that really all that love is? Something that kind of changed my perspective on love is this book, Everything I Know About Love by Dolly Alderton. And I genuinely think that every girl out there should read this book because it made me realize how wrong we are about love. Because a lot of girls, myself included, we grow up around this idea of fairy tales and love stories, and we're taught that there's a knight in shining armor out there who might come by and save us, basically. Or we're taught that the only way for us to gain value is through a man's eyes. If a man decides to choose us, then that means that we must be valuable. But that is so wrong. It's just that all of these love stories and even social media can make it seem like being loved and being in a relationship is this ultimate goal that we all need to achieve. But that's not really the case. And that's something that I love about this book because it doesn't only talk about romantic love. There are so many other types of love out in the world, and this is a book that highlights those different types of love. Throughout this book, we get to watch our main character grow a lot. She starts out as a very young girl, a very young teenager, trying to find her own value throughout these relationships. She sees people around her start dating, so it makes her feel pressured to do the same thing, and she's kind of made to feel that being in a relationship and experiencing those romantic feelings is like the best thing in the world. But the reality is that some of those guys that she meets are not very nice to her. Some of them are kind of mean, some of them are just boring, and she doesn't ever feel the same excitement or fuzzy feeling as when she's hanging out with her girls. And I think that's a really key point in this whole book. She goes through this period of life where she's living in a really small apartment with a few really close friends. And I really love these scenes. I love how she describes some of the parties they have together and how they help each other and how they support each other when they go through really hard times. It's really heartwarming, and I think it really highlights how important it is for women to have friendships and loving relationships with other women. Because at the end of the day, sometimes that's all we have. You know, you can't really rely on a romantic relationship all the time. Sometimes you're going to be in a relationship, sometimes you're going to be single. But I think a core issue here is that when you place your own value and your self-worth on those romantic relationships, it tends to be very soul-crushing when those relationships go away. Maybe you break up. That's totally normal. It happens to everyone, right? But if you feel like this relationship is the one thing that makes you feel worthy, it's the one thing that brings you importance in your own life, then what are you going to do when you break up? If you break up, right? I think the healthiest way to go about this is to find value in yourself and to build long-lasting, non-romantic relationships. So you have that support system, you have people you can rely on and people who rely on you as well. It's not only you taking from others, but you also giving to other people as well. And then when something like this happens to you, when you feel like, I don't know if a romantic relationship is going to happen for me, or I'm going through this really terrible breakup, I feel like, you know, I don't have any purpose in this world anymore, then who are you going to rely on? You only have your close friends, right? So I think this book does a really good job of explaining and kind of showing how important those relationships are for us. I think something else that's really special about this book is it shows how none of us are perfect. There were some moments in this book where I didn't really get along with the main character. I didn't really like the choices that she was making, and I felt like she was a little bit selfish and a bit annoying. But I feel like that's part of what makes this book so real. There were a few times where I was like, why are you going back to this man who has treated you so terribly so many times? You're just going back for that validation, that attention, but in the end, everything is just horrible. Like, it never ends well. Or why are you treating your friends in this way? Like, why do you expect your friends to constantly be there for you? Even at 3 a.m., why do you expect to call them and have them pick up and just drop everything to help you. We do follow her as she comes to these realizations that relationships are give and take. Like, if someone doesn't respond to your message within 5 minutes, it doesn't mean they hate you. It doesn't mean that they think you're annoying. It just means they're busy with their own lives. And that's also something that while I was reading this book, this main character very, very, very slowly came to realize. You know, obviously she's the main character of the book, so things tend to revolve around her. But you can't just treat the people in your life as side characters. Everyone has their own life. Everyone is the main character in their own story. And the sooner you realize that, the sooner you can be a better friend, in my opinion, because you can start to support them in ways that they support you. You can understand that, hey, if they really can't make it to this thing, that's okay. They're probably just busy doing their own thing. Or when your friend gets married and has a baby, you can understand, like, oh yeah, they just have a few more things they have to deal with. They're busy right now. But maybe down the line, when their kid gets a bit older, we can, start hanging out a little bit more. Or, maybe my friend is really tired from taking care of her baby. Maybe I should go over and help cook a dinner or something and clean the house a bit for them. Or, maybe I can offer to watch the baby as they go out and have a nice date or something. You can still find ways to support friends in these situations. And speaking from my own personal experience, I think as young girls, when I was in middle school and high school, everyone was talking about boys and everyone wanted to be in a relationship. And it was something that was so important. And whoever you dated was related to your popularity status. And for me, as someone who never dated in middle school or high school, or even rarely in college, I often felt that something was wrong with me. I felt like nobody wanted me. I felt that I was weird or ugly, but that's really not true. It's just maybe I didn't meet the right person at that time, or maybe I had other things I needed to focus on. I needed to improve myself before I got into these relationships. And ultimately, I think that helped me a lot because I know a lot of people who got into a relationship really young and it didn't really work out or had a really bad ending. A lot of people around me during that time, they also felt like, I've been in a relationship for so long, we've been together for so long, so I don't really want to break up with him even though I don't like him, or even though I want to move to a new city, or even though I want to explore something else. I just don't really want to waste all the years that we've been together. But I really disagree with this kind of way of thinking. I don't think that the years that you've spent together in the past really mean that much about the future. It's more about how you guys support each other and how do you feel when you're around him. Do you guys make each other better people? Overall, I just really recommend everyone to read this book. If you're struggling with love in your life, or if you feel like, having a romantic relationship is so important to you, but you want to stop feeling this way, you want to be a bit more independent, or you want to learn more about how to support your friends, you want to learn about how to be fulfilled in friendships with other women, I feel like this is the right book for you. It definitely helped me a lot. And I think ultimately this is a really good book if you want to learn how to be okay with being alone. And I really recommend everyone learn how to do that because you really can't control other people. You can't control what other people do. You can't control how other people treat you. But what you can control is how you feel about yourself. And you can feel worthy, you can find value in your own self when you don't have to rely on other people to give that to you. And I think this is what's going to set you up for a really bright future and a future full of love and healthy relationships. Don't get me wrong, romantic love can be great, but it's not everything. And you can also find love in the other relationships in your life.